Now let's talk about another one of those issues. I mean, I think obviously, Mitch McConnell is feeling the heat because he is one of those people who, along with Boehner, will basically be responsible for the lack of a vote on some type of reasonable gun control if a vote doesn't take place. I want to run an ad that I know you guys are, and we have a link to it on our site. You guys are trying to raise money to play this ad in Kentucky. Let's play the ad, and you tell us what the numbers are behind this, why you guys are taking this tact with McConnell.
I was born and raised right here in Kentucky. I served my country as a marksman, and we were trained to use guns safely. It's unthinkable that guns meant for war could be used on civilians and children. As a gun owner and veteran, I support the plan to ban assault weapons and keep guns out of the wrong hands because I know these guns. I know what they can do. Senator Mitch McConnell is funded by the gun industry, and he opposes common sense reforms. Senator McConnell, whose side are you on?
Tell us about that ad. Why McConnell's district and why gun control?
So, our organization, boldprogressives.org, wants to be bold, and we want to go on offense. Frankly, this Social Security and Medicare fight is a fight that we're in reluctantly, just out of necessity, but we don't want to really be fighting a Democratic president and Democratic Senate on the issue of Social Security of all things. We want to move the country forward, and there are several issues that we plan on doing that on in 2013, but, guns was one that was kind of handed to us, and we figured, especially since the president is doing what we've been advocating for as an organization for 4 years, leading boldly on the issue as opposed to cutting a deal with the big corporations and starting with his compromise position, and then making the case to the public. We want to help him go on offense and prove to him that progressives will be there, getting his back, helping him win when he actually decides to confront the Republicans instead of prematurely caving. And who better to make an example out of than Mitch McConnell, who is the most vulnerable Republican up for re-election in 2014, which is really fascinating, especially given that he's from Kentucky, and B, who is one of the biggest obstacles to any progress on any issue, given his role leading filibusters in the Senate. So, at this point, we have over 120,000 people who have signed a petition supporting the White House plan, and over 20,000 of those people are gun owners. So it's actually up at our website, gunownersforreform.com. And we decided to dig into that a little bit, find some gun owners from Mitch McConnell's home state, and give them a chance to speak out. And, it's funny because he tried to react to that by saying, oh, this is a liberal out-of-state group. And it's like, you know what? He can call us whatever he wants, but when people see one of their neighbors on TV, that doesn't really have credibility, right? And, one other consequence of this debate is that there's a wedge being drawn between the NRA and their own members. And the NRA is being much more closely aligned with gun manufacturers who fund them than with actual gun owners on the ground. And in this ad, most people couldn't see it visually, but we put on screen that Mitch McConnell has taken, about $198,000 in help from the gun manufacturers in order to get him elected. And when we pose the question, "Whose side are you on?" that is directly calling into doubt whether he supports his big campaign donors or not.
So why?
One other thing I'd mention is that we did a poll the week before we ran this ad, and in Kentucky, in the red state of Kentucky, 82% of voters support criminal background checks. The assault weapons ban is also supported by the public. It's a little bit less. It's 50% to 40%. And by about a 50% to 30% margin, voters back home think that Mitch McConnell sides with his campaign donors more than siding with regular Kentucky families. So this ad is an attempt to hold him accountable back home and really start getting us on offense for a change instead of always playing defense.
So why is McConnell weak? A, and B, is the Democratic Senate Campaign Committee, are they targeting this state as well?
To start with that one, they'd be crazy not to. Again, just because the polling shows that he is the most vulnerable incumbent Republican. There are efforts underway to lure Ashley Judd into running. I think the progressive attorney general of that state, Jack Conway, would be a great candidate, even though so far he said that he's not going to run. So my guess is that will end up being a very competitive race and that the DSCC, as it's called, will get involved. Why is he vulnerable? I think partly it's he's been around forever. I think he's been around for about 5 terms now, and it's about 30 years. People know that he's an insider. And more, word is breaking through that he is standing against the will of his own constituents. And again, this is one of the things that has kind of aggravated progressives the most watching the policy fights of recent years. It's not as if Republican politicians in D.C. are actually representing Republican voters back home when they stand against Wall Street reform and stick up for the insurance industry and stick up for the big oil companies, or in this case, stick up for the gun manufacturers. Even people back home want Wall Street held accountable. They don't want their homes being foreclosed on. People back home don't want their kids shot in movie theaters or schools. People back home don't want to pay exorbitant prices for prescription drugs or be ripped off by big corporations. And that's why it's so important to go on offense. And that's why we've been encouraging the president to use his bully pulpit to actually force these Republicans to cave. So, what we're trying to do here is basically throw salt in the wound, make an example out of Mitch McConnell, show how vulnerable even someone in the red state of Kentucky is. And the more we can get him to cave, or the more we can get his popularity to plummet back home, the more ripple effects that will have across other politicians and across other policy fights. That's our theory.
Adam Green, co-founder of the Progressive Change Campaign Committee. Thanks so much for joining us today.